Shaman Q&A. I'm very excited. We have actually a question from Kaylin today that we are going to have a look at and dive deeper into. I'm very excited about that. And before we do, let us get into the right state. Do this exercise with me right now. You don't need to lie down. You don't need to close your eyes. Just do it with me. You're going to instantly see a difference in how you're showing up in your state. You probably noticed that most of your attention right now is in your head, and there's maybe even a bit of heaviness in your head right now. So what I want you to do is lower your attention through your throat, through your chest, through your abdomen, and right there in your center, in your second chakra, right below your belly button. And you're going to instantly notice a deep state of confidence and calm wash over you right now. This exercise is exceptionally powerful when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling stressed, before an important meeting, or even when you have social anxiety. This was a huge one for me. When I would go to parties and I would talk to a group of people, I would feel very anxious about whether they would like me or not. And then I started doing this exercise, the centering exercise. And all of a sudden I was calm. I could ask a lot of questions and people would be naturally interested in me. And I didn't need to put on this show, this facade, or, try to be interesting, because I was just calm and being myself. Do this exercise before an interview, before a date, before an important task. And you're going to tap into your power. This live today is actually about your power. It's a reminder that you are the source. I just had a call with a client today and her team member. And she said, you know what, I'm feeling anxious about growing too fast and not being able to handle this growth. And her team member said, hey, I feel anxious about my finances because they're going up and down, up 1 month, down the next. And I asked them, what is the source of stability? What is the source of certainty? And they said, well, getting clients consistently and giving the clients an amazing experience. And I asked them, so what is the source of that? And they're like, well, we are. Exactly. You're the source. I used to believe that if I make great videos and I obsess about the thumbnails and titles, then my business would skyrocket. So you can imagine that there was a lot of pressure with every single video, with every single title, to get things right, to make it perfect. But then I realized, wait a second, the videos are not the ones growing my business. My state is. Who I'm choosing to be is growing my business. Because whenever I was in this confident state, a state of being myself, a state of freedom, my business grew with it. Granted, after a certain time, because there's always a time buffer between how you feel and the external reality shifting. It always went up when I was in a high state. And then when I sacrificed that state for old habits, my business suffered. So when I realized that I was the source, not the videos, the choices I've made, who I chose to show up as every single day, it just relieved so much of the pressure. And when you do that, what you're energetically doing, and by the way, if you're watching this live right now, let me know, where are you watching this from? It's always fun to know. When you're releasing the pressure, what you're doing energetically is you're reducing the importance. Because the more you need something to work, the more you want something, the more you're putting it on a pedestal and you're making it bigger than you. But the truth is, you are much bigger than any goal or any problem that you're dealing with. But excuse me, we pretend that it's the other way around, that we're smaller than the problems we're dealing with. It's not true. So when you're reducing the importance, you're letting go of the pressure. You're making yourself bigger. You're making yourself more capable of handling things, more creative. You expand your mind, you expand your heart. You all of a sudden have access to wisdom that you normally didn't have access to. This is making sense. Let me know in the comments if this is making sense. Beautiful. I'm gonna have a look at Kaylin's question. If you have a question, feel free to post it in the comments. And if you're watching the recording right now, same thing. We will address this question next week. Beautiful. So, Kaylin is saying, I'm loving the course so much. She's talking about the Warrior Shaman course. So as a part of this, I have made a decision to discontinue one of my services, which takes up a lot of time. Or rather to discontinue providing the service as a standalone, but rather including it in my coaching job search strategy program. So Kaylin is actually a coach, a career coach. I know it's the right thing to do, but I'm a little scared. Okay, a lot scared. It's probably one of the most requested services, but honestly takes way more time than it's worth. So when I first read this question, this is what came to mind, right? There is a universal law of supply and demand, meaning that if this service is in high demand, and yet your time is limited because it takes a lot of your time, what you can do is, of course, let it go altogether because it's consuming a lot of your time, and then focus on something else that maybe it's less time consuming and maybe more exciting, more profitable, more fun. But what you also can test out is raising the price of that specific service, because anything that is in high demand and is limited, because you are limited by your own time, basically, you cannot take on more clients because you simply physically do not have the time, then you can raise your price. And you can simply justify that in the next conversation, like, hey, I'm only taking on one more client for this because I'm fully booked, and I'm only taking it for this price. So it should be a price that would make it worth it for you to continue providing this service. So if somebody says, hey, no, it's a bit too much for me, that's okay. You've lost nothing because you were going to discontinue that service anyway. But if somebody says, hey, you know what, I'd be happy to pay that, sure, of course, then you have a new client and you feel like, the time that you're spending is justified for what you're being paid for this specific service. Is this making sense? So this is kind of strategically speaking. Now, in the situation where your heart is saying, because your heart is directly connected to your higher self, your heart is saying, you know what, if I would charge 2 times or whatever, 3 times for this service, and I would take on another client, I would just feel miserable. Regardless of how much money somebody would pay me for this, I would feel miserable doing this. If this is the case, then yes, I would personally stop that service and just trust your intuition, trust your higher self to guide you to either creating a new service or a new version of that service that is less demanding of your time. Like, could it be a group coaching session? Could it be a Q&A, just like we're doing right now? You know what I mean? Where you kind of take the most common questions and you answer them every week or bi-weekly or something like that. So you can also play around with your intuition in that sense and ask your intuition, hey, what would make sense, right? What would make me really, really happy, right? Would it be a variation of this service, or should I just let it go altogether and trust my higher self to guide me to create a totally new service, right? So Kaylin is already saying, and I love that you're watching this live, Kaylin, already. Beautiful. So this could be the solution, and I think she's probably referring to the first option of charging more for that service because it's in such high demand and it's limited to because of your time restrictions. Let me know, Kaylin, if that's the case, or which of the two solutions feels right to you right now. Don't rush it. Don't rush the answer. Take a moment. Check in with your heart. And notice which of the options that we talked about so far would fit you really well. Kaylin's being, this makes perfect sense. There is a time delay between the live video and the comments, by the way. So this is in response to what I was asking previously. Beautiful. So I see we have somebody else watching the live. Big welcome. Love to have you here. Let us know where you're watching this from. Which country are you tuning in from? That's always fun. And if you have any questions right now, again, in the live, type them in the comments. If you're watching the recording, type them in. I get to see all of your comments, and I will address your question next week. Yeah. I don't know if you caught it, but I posted a new video today on the channel about a story, something that happened yesterday, how I used the same process I used to manifest clients. I used it to manifest this really, really cool thing that I'm so happy about. Yeah, check it out. You're probably look at today's uploads, and I think you're going to really, really enjoy this story, and I think it's really going to resonate. So let's see what Kaylin is sharing. Let me see if I can make this a bit smaller, or I can't actually collapse it, but this is good as well. I might actually start teaching it to people to do on their own. That's far more exciting. I actually love that more. That's beautiful as well, right? So you can transition from a done for you, right, where you're the expert and you're doing the work for your clients, to a done with you. You're teaching them how to do it, right? They try it out and then they come back and say, hey, I did this thing. What do you think? So that allows you for it gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of your offering. So if somebody wants to do your done for you, right, where they ask you to do it for them, you can charge a lot more than what you're charging right now, because again, demand and supply. And now you have an additional service that's a lot more accessible to people who may be a bit more restricted financially, right? And they're like, hey, you know what? I'm not that flexible financially, but I do have the time to invest to kind of learn this and get your feedback, your support. So that allows for even more flexibility. Beautiful. And the idea, guys, what I'm trying to say here is that your heart already knows. And if you're watching this, it's your heart, it's your higher self that had you tune into this video right now and said, hey, you know what, there's a piece, there's an insight right there that you need right now. You need to bring into your physical mind's awareness so you have more tools to play around with. It's still your higher self guiding you towards allowing yourself to be more and more of you. And the more and more of you are, the real you, and the real you is this powerhouse of creation, the more fun and exciting life becomes. I was listening to Bouchard the other day about manifestation and abundance. He said this whole way that you guys phrase this process of learning to manifest or learning to create abundance, he said it's completely off, because you're manifesting all the time. It's not something you need to learn. The fact that you're having a physical experience, it's the manifestation from your soul. You're instantly manifesting this physical experience. Now, what the terminology, a better terminology is instead of learning to manifest more of what you prefer, right? way, because also in the term of abundance, you are always, 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 always consistently creating an abundance of something. But when it's not what you prefer, you're creating an abundance of what you don't prefer, or an abundance of lack. It's built in. So this is what I'm saying. When you are learning more and more, you're bringing more of these insights into your conscious awareness, you start to realize more and more that you are this powerhouse, this badass that's constantly manifesting, and that's constantly manifesting abundance. And all you need to do is create that shift in time, because your range of beliefs, it has been very fixed for most of your life. Adjusting those beliefs and extending that range of beliefs takes a bit of time. But when you do, guess what? You're already manifesting. You're already manifesting abundance. You start to manifest something different, in different type of abundance, right? Of course, you know all of this stuff, but it's always beautiful to get a reminder sometimes. Yeah. Guys, appreciate you for tuning into this live session. I appreciate you for being a part of the Warrior Shaman community here on YouTube. And if you'd like a bit of insight, if you'd like a bit of assistance, there are a few links below where you can learn more. Kaylin is already one of the Warrior Shamans, one of my clients, and I have so much appreciation and joy to have her. Ever since I met her, it was, we instantly clicked. So that's beautiful. So if you want to find out if we would click to work together, again, there's a few links below. But until then, I appreciate you for being here and look forward to your questions moving forward. And I will see you next week. Have a beautiful week. Bye.